you should be doing to make sure that you are pretty much covered and ready for the next Penguin update. And of course the news has been a few times lately that a Penguin update is coming. Still not here yet. It is being worked on. And the word is that the aim for the web spam team is going to be to try to make the refreshes for the Penguin algorithm more regular. Of course, we don't know exactly what more regular means when we're coming up towards 12 months since the last update at this point. But we'll take a little bit more of a look at that as we move through the webinar today. First of all, if you do happen to get caught, if the phone rings or something like that, and you're unable to be attentive to the screen for a little while, don't worry too much. We will actually be recording today's session, and you will be able to watch it later, so not too much to worry about there. I'm seeing a message from Cesar. Hi, Cesar. Thanks for joining us, and good to catch up with some of you who I've obviously caught up with around the place before, and hoping that everything is all set for you. So that's pretty much the reason why we're doing the webinar today, just to make sure that everyone is good to go and ready to get on with business. So the most important thing, of course, is not to be caught out when the Penguin update does happen. Everybody's been waiting for so long. We tend to kind of just sit and wait and wonder what will happen when it arrives. But of course, even for people who've never had a penalty, or even if you have multiple domains and you have domains that have never had a problem, you know, as we all know, things can get real very quickly if you haven't actually taken the opportunity to be ready. So today we're going to look at 10 things that you can do, and they're very simple things that can, first of all, give you an idea of what's happening on your site and whether there might be issues that haven't yet arisen that you should take care of as quickly as possible. And also, if you have dealt with link problems in the past, we want to make sure that everything you've done is all up to date, and you know, that there hasn't been anything missed, and that you're all ready for that Penguin update to arrive. So these are the things we're going to go through. We're going to talk about getting help from the Penguin tool, using Majestic SEO link maps to take a look at the geolocation of your links, setting up simple hack tracks, because we have seen instances in the past where hacking of sites has actually caused what looks like linking problems for those sites. We're going to show you a tool that allows you to actually see the composition of the links in your backlink profile, so you can get a bit of an idea of whether there might be some issues there. We're going to talk about redirects and what they should be doing, and how you can use them more cleverly to make sure that you don't end up with a problem. We're going to talk about the guidelines, which have updated again recently. We're going to go on a zombie hunt. We'll talk about zombie links. Also, double-checking your disavow files, the things to look for, getting disavow files up and ready, and also, of course, the technical things you need to look at to make sure your site is ready for, well, at any time, but most especially when the update happens. You don't want to be being held back by other things. So we'll get into it fairly quickly. First up, the Penguin tool. Now, if you haven't heard of this one, it's actually a tool that allows you to see your analytics data with any Google Penguin and Panda updates overlaid on top of them. So it makes it very, very easy to look at your analytics data and see where there have been drops, and you can see quite easily in this particular graph whether there are specific drops that coincide with particular updates. And you can see from the color coding on here, there are actually, the updates are actually color coded, so you can see, for example, that there's a Panda problem for in one specific place there, and some other issues that may have happened as well. So there's some stuff that's going on there with updates, and you can actually identify it very quickly. This is a software as a service free tool. You can go in there. The link is in the bottom of the slide here. Basically go in, click a button, connect to your analytics account, and you will automatically see the Penguin overlay on your analytics right there on the screen. So very easy to use, easy to identify problems, and if you have sites that haven't in the past actually exhibited any sorts of issues, a good idea to make sure that you go and check with the Penguin tool, take a look. Sometimes those problems can happen in small increments. If you can, for example, see a panda problem or a penguin problem that may have been, incrementally happening with each update, getting a little worse, it may be something that's happened over time and you're not necessarily picking up on. So take a look at that, and it will certainly give you a pointer if that is the case. So something else to think about, Majestic SEO have recently introduced Majestic link maps. Now what these allow us to do is actually to see the geolocation of the backlinks in your link profile. Now Majestic SEO of course is a paid tool, but they actually allow you to look at your own domains free. So all you need to do is go into Majestic, you can create a free account, you can verify your own domains that you own, and then you are able to actually get all of your link data out of Majestic for your domains. If you're not aware of that already, you can do that, and also you can then click the Maps button and see this geo distribution map, which shows you where the inbound links are coming. Now why would we want to look at this before Penguin comes along? Okay, so the idea is that if you look at this map, and this one in particular is for a .com site. Now the fact that this is a .com site and it has only like 2 little nodes of backlinks emanating out of the USA, a little bit sort of in around the UK and something in Europe, and then lots of East Asian looking links, might be a little bit of a flag that perhaps something's not quite right with the way that those links are actually coming in. Now obviously that you have situations where things might go viral and you may have links from all kinds of places at specific times, but you would normally be aware of those things happening in relation to things that go on around your site and your content and those sorts of things. But if you actually are looking at your backlink profile and you look in this map and you can see that there's a whole lot of stuff coming out of places that you can't really logically account for in terms of geolocation, then this could be a pointer that there's something not right in the profile. Then you need to take a deeper look and be identifying exactly how natural those links might be. And especially if you have actually had someone build links for your site, this is something that's important to do, to take a look at the geolocation, because we do know obviously that there are specific geolocations that tend to be places where people are creating links because they can basically do it easily and cheaply. So that's something to keep in mind, but also keep in mind that when you're looking at your own sites, Majestic SEO actually gives you your data for free, so something to remember. So hack tracks. What we're actually looking at here is to identify hacking issues that may be happening on your site and you may not otherwise be aware of. Now what happens in some cases is that we see people who are trying to actually create pages on someone else's website with links in them that will point somewhere so that they can actually get the benefit of that. Usually it's people who are in very high competition niches. For the sorts of keywords that we've got here, we've actually shown you how to set up just a simple Google alert, which is absolutely free. The URL is there. You can go along to the Google Alerts page, put in an alert, and basically do it as you would do a site colon search. So site colon your site and the keyword or phrase. Make sure if you're doing phrases that you use the quotation marks, and set those up. And what will happen is that at any time that Google actually crawls a page and detects that there's a page on your site that contains those keywords, you'll get an email to tell you. So if someone has actually done something to hack your site and created those types of pages on your site, it's a quick, easy way to get an alert and find out. Then, of course, you've got a problem to deal with, but at least you know about it. So the idea now is to make sure that you've got these sorts of things in place so that if those sorts of issues are occurring, you can be aware of them and clean them up and not have, you know, hundreds of pages there that look like you may have created them that may create a problem for you when Penguin arrives. So it's always a good idea to keep track of these things, and especially, of course, if you're using a CMS that is known to be easily hacked. If, for example, you have WordPress installations or some of the other standard CMS installations that people are very good at finding ways to crack, then this is very important anyway. Even without Penguin, it's important to make sure that you're aware of what's going on with your site. So we have then the link detective tool. Now, this is really interesting because this is a tool that's actually used by most people for link prospecting. But for us, it's very, very useful because it's been built, a guy by the name of Epivote has built this tool, and it's been very well done. And what it actually does is it allows us to see the links by type. So you can actually take your list of backlinks, load it into this tool. It's actually, there is a free version. The paid version is like $10 a month. It is, as I said, quite useful for other tasks anyway. And the thing about this is that you can actually see very quickly and easily, as you can see from this graphic, the different types of sites. You can see if you have a huge number of specific link types that are occurring there in your profile. Now, one thing to be aware of when you're actually putting your list of links into the Link Detective tool, it has actually been created to work in tandem with Open Site Explorer. So that means that what you need to do is to make sure that the format of your list of links matches the format of an Open Site Explorer download. So that's pretty easy. You can grab an Open Site Explorer download yourself to see what format the CSV file is in. Just make sure that your columns in your CSV file add up, but you can put as many links in there. We've had a good chat to Epi about this, and he is quite happy for people to be using Link Detective to be able to do that job. So basically load in your links as long as they're in the right format and upload them to Link Detective. It will split them all out by link type and show you these nice graphics that actually will give you an idea of what's happening with the combination of different link types in your profile. So again, something to be super aware of if you have sites that may not have perhaps exhibited a problem. You might not have got a manual action to date, no Penguin. Then, you know, really important to take a look at your link profiles on those sites now rather than waiting till after a Penguin update arrives and maybe find that there was something in there that you didn't know about. One of the things that we need to repeat again often is also that what we know about what's in our link profile and what's actually there are generally two entirely different things. So for any of you who've been running link cleanup, I'm sure you've probably figured that out. Usually on primary sites, people are very aware by now of what's happening there, but if you have a number of sites, very important to get a handle on exactly what's in those link profiles as well, so that you can make sure that you don't have something that's, you know, just a prime target sitting waiting for the Penguin update to arrive. So the next thing to think about is redirects. And of course, we know that there can be issues created by redirects. In fact, there's a whole section in the Google Webmaster Quality Guidelines about the use of redirects, so manipulative redirects specifically. So one of the things to be aware of is, of course, that if a 301 redirect is passing PageRank, then it's also passing any link issues. So if, for example, you have a domain that is redirecting to your site and that domain has already got a Penguin problem, a manual action, then, or has been completely de-indexed, something like that, then those signals are being passed on to the site it's redirecting to. So, these are things that you don't want to be happening. Now, there's two things to look for. First of all, the actual manipulative redirects, usually from exact match domains. So a situation where you might have maybe in the past bought a whole pile of domains that were perhaps, domain names that were around your primary keywords and things like that, and then because you haven't used them, or for whatever reason, you may have decided to just 301 redirect them all to one site, or to to a few sites or whatever. The issue with this is that Google sees this as an attempt, because we know what happens with keywords. It sees this generally as an attempt to manipulate rankings by sending more signals for those keywords to that domain. So that's the first thing to be aware of, is that if you have those redirects in place, then it could be seen, or most likely will be seen as manipulative. Now, in some cases, of course, it's not. In some cases, you've just may have bought a whole pile of domains because you wanted to own that space, and you wanted to make sure that anyone who happened to come to any of those domains ended up at your site. So that's okay, but we have to actually learn about how to make sure you can do that without passing any link signals that might be undesirable. So the second thing is to check for redirects from other domains that already have penalty issues, of course. So if a site's already been de-indexed, if it has, if you know that it has a penguin problem, if you know it has a manual action, then clearly you don't want to be redirecting those link signals to the site that they're redirecting to. So you have two options. First of all, there's the option of just completely removing the redirects, dumping them completely, and saying, okay, well that's it, I'm not going to bother about those anymore. That's okay if it's not a situation where you genuinely wanted to be, trying to capture those people who are genuinely, likely to be customers of yours, who may be coming to you from different places. Now, if you want to do that, and you desperately want to keep those redirects in place, there is one way to do that, and that is to stop them passing PageRank by redirecting them through a page that has been blocked from search engines by the robots.txt file. So basically what happens is that you have a URL that is blocked with the robots.txt file on that site, and you 301 redirect through that page and then on to wherever you want that traffic to arrive. And by doing that, by placing that blocked page in the path of the redirect, you actually stop it from passing PageRank. So that's the answer if you are wanting to do that. Now, most of the ad-click platforms, this is the way that they actually send traffic. So you may, for example, see links in your backlink profile that are, from these types of ad platforms. And those are the ones that you don't necessarily need to worry about, because they're in fact not passing PageRank. If they are redirecting through a page that is blocked in that way, then that's not actually passing PageRank. It's not going to be doing any harm for your link profile. So check on your redirects, make sure you don't have any fails in there, and if you need to deal with those, make sure you get it done before Penguin arrives. So the next thing is something we've talked about in the past a lot, and that is to make sure you get a grip on the guidelines. Now, the Google Webmaster Quality Guidelines do change. They have, in fact, been updated again within the last couple of months. And, of course, the thing to remember is that every time there is a change in what Google is seeing as a manipulative linking situation, the guidelines will, of course, be updated. So when the changed attitude to guest posting, for example, happened, then that was fairly obvious that the Webmaster Quality Guidelines would change then. But they actually have been changed and updated from time to time, and Google no longer actually shows us on the page when the last update was. So this means that you need to kind of keep up to date. You need to go check those guidelines occasionally and just see if there is anything that is happening there that you actually need to be aware of. So the thing to understand is that because they're not actually showing you what's going on, then it doesn't mean nothing's changed. And in fact, I've come across people who actually haven't read the guidelines for 12 months, and then they've probably changed 6 or 7 times in that time. So you do need to go back, and make sure, especially if you're looking at new sites that may have linking problems, reviewing new backlink profiles, you need to go back from time to time, check those guidelines, and make sure that nothing has changed that is going to make a difference to your analysis, for example. And of course, we try and update you on Twitter and those sorts of things when we actually become aware that those changes happen. So it's a good idea, of course, to follow @rmoov if you want to keep up with those sorts of things, and we'll tweet out when those changes occur. Now, the other thing to remember is, of course, the Bing Webmaster Guidelines. Now, while they don't apply to Penguin, and it's not about the Google updates and all that stuff, you still need to be aware of what the guidelines are for Bing. One of the things we always remember is that when you have a problem at Google, Bing is the next most important place to be worrying about. So you need to actually make sure that you're on top of what's happening with their guidelines as well. And there have been some recent updates to those, so maybe go have a look. Each of those is actually a link in this slide deck. So I'll be uploading the slide deck to SlideShare, and we'll send you out a link to that, and so you'll be able to go and check those straight from the links if you need to do that, if you don't already know how to get to them. So next we're going to talk about zombies. Now, this is really just the name that's been adopted, I guess, to describe links that once dead have returned. And so one of the really important things to do, especially if you've undertaken some link removal activities in the past, is to make sure that those links are not back. Now, one of the things we obviously recommend is that you would have disavowed those links anyway at domain level, so that if they do in fact return, the disavow for that domain will cover it. Now, one of the problems that we see though is that in some cases people have discounted dead links at the outset before actually going on with their link removal efforts. They've said, oh, okay, all those links are dead, so I'll just forget about those and work on the rest of them. Now, one of the problems with that, of course, is that those links may have been dead at that particular point in time because a page or a server was unavailable when crawled. It might have been a momentary thing, it might have been a short-term thing. There's all kinds of other things. Even links that have been removed can come back because someone has had a site crash, for example, and restored everything from backups. So there are these situations that happen where we do see links that previously have been thought to be dead and now find them returned live. So if you've done these things, one of the things that's very important to do is to check and make sure that they are still dead links. Especially important before Penguin arrives, because of course if you think you've solved those problems and they're not solved, then the benefit you get from the Penguin update is not going to be as good as you would like it to be. So one of the things, one of the easiest ways to do this is actually to use the Screaming Frog SEO Spider. Now, to do it with Screaming Frog, you need the paid version, which is like 99 British pounds per year. Once again, it is a tool that's very useful for other things. It's a crawling tool that has an amazing array of features and functions and allows you to do all kinds of things. So, it's actually probably a fairly good investment from that point of view. And if you're going to do what we're talking about here, then you need to have that paid version, because to get the custom filters, you need to have the paid version. So what you actually do is set up your custom filter and say that you want to actually find pages that contain your domain, and then of course you actually put in your list of links, all those links that you think are dead, and you set Screaming Frog going, and it just quietly crawls away through that list of links and identifies any that actually are live and have that link contained in them, or link to your domain contained in them. So this is, again, a very simple but important thing to do. And if, of course, you find that there are links that have returned and you haven't already done something about disavowing those domains, then you need to deal with that fairly quickly. So there are other crawling tools, of course, that you can use. For example, Scrapebox, and there's a whole range of them. If you have one that's preferred that enables you to do this job, then just go ahead and use that. If you actually don't, and you aren't able to afford or don't want to buy Screaming Frog, for those of you who are in the webinar today, just drop a list in an email to support@rmoov.com, and we'll run them for you and send you back the results, and we're happy to do that for you. Okay, so we come to double checking the disavows. Now, we all like to think, okay, we've done the disavow file, we've uploaded it, it's all good, you know, we can forget about that now. But what we often see is that people actually make mistakes. Sometimes your existing disavow files actually contain domains that shouldn't have been disavowed. You know, sometimes you've grabbed a whole pile of links, and you know, you may have had links from domains that were perfectly natural. You may have accidentally included, you know, a domain that you really would prefer to keep links from. You may, for example, have included a domain, or disavowed at domain level, a domain that you would prefer to have just disavowed a specific URL for, so that you are able to get the link equity from any future links you might earn on that domain. So basically having a look to see if you've accidentally disavowed something you shouldn't have, now is the time to remove it from that disavow file. Secondly, if you did disavows in the very early days and you have disavows out there that still only disavow specific URLs for a site, then you probably should take a look at that and consider the possibility of disavowing at domain level entire domains for all but those for which you just want to disavow a specific URL, because, as I mentioned earlier, you might want to still have access to the link equity for any new natural links that come from those domains. Have you checked that all of your domains are disavowed? Now, one of the issues we've seen in the past with the disavow tool, it has a 2 megabyte file size limit, and for those people who uploaded disavow files in the very early days and were including full notations of all of their link removal activities in those disavow files, what often happened was that text file, actually, because it had so much in the way of notations, ended up being more than 2 megs in size. Now, the problem is that when you upload to the disavow tool at Google, it will actually accept that file that is over 2 megs in size and trim it without telling you. So what that means is that there are actually people out there who possibly have disavow files that they have uploaded thinking that they've disavowed a certain number of domains or URLs, and in actual fact only 2 megs worth of that file information has been accepted by the disavow tool. So the thing to do, download your existing disavow file and check make sure, put it against your, your original base file that you would have uploaded, and make sure that all of the domains that were in one are also in the other. And obviously, if they're not, then now is the time to update. If you have those disavow files that are still full of all those notations, you can get rid of those, because the notations are not able to be read by the web spam team anyway. They are purely there for your convenience, so you know what you've done and what's been going on, and clearly you can keep that information elsewhere. You don't need to have it in the disavow file, especially if it's putting you at risk of maybe not getting all of your disavow information uploaded successfully. So be aware of that one. And of course the zombie links. Did some of them sneak past? Are there links that you haven't disavowed because you thought they were dead and have since returned? So just get a handle on that and make sure that if there are, that they're added to your disavow file now before Penguin arrives. That link at the bottom again in the slide share, when you get it, you'll be able to go straight to the disavow tool, and you can download your disavow file from there. Be aware that you only have the option of downloading as a CSV or a PDF, and your upload for the disavow tool has to be a text file in Unicode format, or UTF-8 format. So don't make the mistake of downloading, changing and uploading a CSV file, for example, because the upload will not be successful. So make sure that if you download the CSV, grab it, put it into a text editor, and make sure that you've actually created a text file ready for upload. Now, to make it easier to manage your disavow files and to make sure you have a file that is in the right format and all of that, you can use distit.com to manage your disavow files. Now, we built this. It's a free tool to help you manage and update your disavow files. You can upload your lists, and if you have, for example, multiple lists, an existing file, and then you want to add more to it, something like that, you can actually upload each list into the tool. It will combine them, make notations as to what date you've added things and all those things, and then you can download that combined updated disavow file, because of course remember that the disavow tool is not an update, it's an overwrite. So if you have information in there now and you upload a new list, you are overwriting the existing list. You have to combine the two before you upload, or you are actually effectively re-avowing the file, the domains in your disavow file. So Distit allows you to do these updates and just pull one file and go and upload it to the disavow tool. If you have a remove account, all you have to do is sign in with your existing remove login, and also if you have multiple campaigns in remove, Distit automatically combines those campaigns into one disavow file ready for you to download. And of course, if you have an existing file in the disavow tool that hasn't been done out of a remove campaign, you can then upload that to add it and get an updated file ready for upload. When you download from Distit, you automatically get the right format inside the 2 meg file limit. Everything is all checked and confirmed to make sure that the file you have is one that will be valid and will be accepted by the disavow tool when you submit. So it's worth having a look at that if you need to be managing files, and especially also if you're dealing with situations where you have perhaps possible negative SEO, or you're concerned about new links arriving and those sorts of things, and you're updating disavow files on a regular basis, then Distit makes it really easy for you to be able to just grab a new list and put it in, or for your new list to come straight out of remove and be automatically combined into your Distit download, ready for upload to the disavow tool. So then the next really important thing, of course, is to make sure that your links and domains that you need to disavow are in the tool. If you're still working on things and you're thinking, well, when I've finished this campaign, I'll upload and whatever, please don't do that. Please think about disavowing now, making sure those files are in place, because when that Penguin update runs, you really want to have them there. If they're not in place, you are going to wait for the next update. So if there's any little bits and pieces that you're still working on, make sure that your disavow files are updated regardless of what ongoing work you're doing. We've been told that the WebSpam team is working toward a more regular refresh of the Penguin algorithm. Of course, at this point, as we're approaching 12 months since the last update, anything less than 11 months could be considered more regular. So, while everybody is probably leaping to the conclusion that their advice that they're working on more regular refreshes means they're working towards a monthly rotation, similar to what's happening with Panda now for some time. The fact is that 6 months at a time would be more regular than what we have now, and that may be where we end up. So we can't make assumptions about what's going to happen, and that's really the reason for this webinar today, is to try to make sure that you have the opportunity to get everything in place, ready, and you don't end up waiting more time, for the next update to get some other things right. So please, if you have links and domains that you need to disavow, make sure that they're added as soon as possible. Now, also, you can upload from the link there on the slide if you want to. And then finally, when all of that is in place, there are still other things that are important. And of course, the most important things are to make sure that your site is not being held back in other areas, because we want you to get the best benefit possible. Everybody's been waiting so long for this update to come. We want to make sure that any benefit you can possibly wring from it will be yours. So very, very important to make sure that your site is technically okay as well. So a couple of very important things. First of all, to check that it's crawlable. And the quick, easy way to check for crawlability in Google is to use the Fetch as Googlebot feature in Google Webmaster Tools. Again, that is a link in the slide, and if you grab the slide share when we send you the link, you'll be able to click that to go straight there. It's easy to find in your Webmaster Tools under the crawl section, Fetch as Googlebot. You can also use Fetch and Render, which allows you to actually see also a representation of what Googlebot is seeing on your pages. So that's quite important. And when you use Fetch as Googlebot, also just something to be aware of, if you're adding new pages to your site, you can use Fetch as Googlebot to go and fetch individual pages and then you can use the Add to Index feature to actually get them added to the index. Also, one that we've seen recently, we've seen a lot of people who think that they have backlink problems and are getting a drop-off in search traffic and are feeling that they have a penalty. And what actually is revealed when we dig a little deeper into that is that they actually have massive problems with site speed and reliability. So page speed is very important. It's now a very highly used ranking factor, has a very high weight in ranking by Google. And so making sure that your load speeds are up to par is very important. You can use the Page Speed Insights tool, which again is accessible through Google Webmaster Tools. It's in the kind of other tools labs link if you go into Webmaster Tools, but again this is a link that will take you straight there from the slide and allow you to look at that. The other thing is that if you do have reliability issues with servers, then of course very, very important to make sure that those are gotten on top of very quickly. We have situations where people have had servers that have been intermittently down, and what effectively happens is that Googlebot hits that server and can't access the site. And if that happens, a few times too often, then Googlebot just decides that the site's not there, it's not trustworthy, not reliable, not going to get crawled very often, maybe not get crawled at all. So please make sure that you check on that if you have those sorts of issues. And again, you can use the tools in Google Webmaster Tools to see what's happening with your crawls and your reliability, and see if in fact there is a possibility that Googlebot might be having trouble accessing your site. And once again, don't forget, it's not just Googlebot. Bingbot is incredibly sensitive to errors. So again, it can have a really bad effect. And also, of course, all the other search engines. If any search engine is trying to access your site and unable to do it, reliably, then that is going to have an effect on where you appear in search rankings. So that pretty much brings us to the end of the information I have to give you today. Now, it is going to be, I just need to take a look here. I've actually just lost my webinar tool. Aha, okay. So it is time for questions. Basically, if there's anything you would like to ask, anything that isn't clear from what I've been talking about, or anything additional that you want to straighten out before Penguin arrives, then feel free to hit the question box right now, and I'll do my best to answer them for you. Now, also, just to keep you up to date on what's happening with a few other things with regard to rmoov, if anybody is headed for SMX East in New York City, which is coming up from the 30th of September to the 2nd of October, I'll actually be speaking at SMX East on link audits and disavows, which is going to be quite interesting. So that will be happening on the 1st of October. I'll be speaking in the afternoon. So if anybody's headed to SMX East, then please let me know, and I'd love to catch up with you whilst there. And also, I'll be heading to PubCon in Las Vegas in the following week. PubCon's happening from the 6th through to the 9th of October. And we'll be there and catching up with anyone who wants to talk about link removal. I'll also be hosting a get-together for people who are working with penalties in both New York City and Las Vegas around those, or during the time of those conferences. So if you happen to be going to either of those, then hit me up on Twitter and let me know if you'd like to come and sit down and have a meal with some of the other people who are working in link removal, and also with other people who are just out there dealing with their linking issues. It's a good opportunity to get together, have a chat, see if there's anything that anyone needs help with, and also share some information on some of the things we're seeing that are happening out there in the industry.